Welcome to ATCP in the Canopy, the official video podcast of the Association of Tree Care Professionals. I'm your host, Austin Lee, and our mission here is to elevate the standards of our industry by talking to the people who live and breathe tree care. Joining me today is Sarah Porter. Sarah is the Operations Manager of Global Insurance Billing, or GIB for short. Sarah, thanks for climbing into the canopy with me today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Oh, it's great to have you here. How has your week been going so far?
Good. Just gearing up for ArborFest this week. Excited to head out there tomorrow. So we're excited to be there again. How's your week going?
Going good so far. It's been kind of busy since getting back from Arbor Expo. I was really excited about all the cool developments with ATCP, and the business accelerator was pretty awesome. But I feel like I always travel to the conferences, and then there's a bit of catch-up work, you know, when you get back into the office, just trying to dig out. So
yeah,
I don't know how you're going to swing that with two back-to-back shows, but
yeah. Are you not going?
I won't be there this year. No, I think next show for me will be ISA conference in Detroit, which will be in my backyard.
Oh,
so
very cool. Awesome. Yeah, we're excited to be there. We love going out there. Both of the fests, they're awesome. Love being there. Seeing everybody.
I did want to kind of swing it. We drive to the shows. Do you guys ship your stuff in when you?
No, Stefan drives. He's not a flyer, so he's like anti-airplanes, anti-airport. So he drives, but me and Amanda and my sister Bethany that were there, we all flew. So he took all of our equipment, all of our marketing products and everything. So we thank him for it, but could never. It's such a long drive.
That's right. I helped him unload some of the things for the booth. I had like the same treatment, right? So I had to get there a day early for the accelerator. And then my dad and brother came in after me, and they brought all the stuff out from Michigan. Quite a long drive. It's actually funny. My older brother lost his passport at the border. He forgot it, and he thought he had the enhanced ID, and he didn't.
Oh,
and so they let him in the Canada side, and he was worried that he was going to get stuck coming out the other end at Buffalo. But they
Wait, so when you guys drive to Massachusetts, you go through Canada?
Yeah, it's actually shorter. So like if you come through Detroit, which, because I'm down here in Detroit, we get to do the Michigan hand thing.
The murder mitten.
Yeah, the murder mitten. Then we wrap around, come through Ohio, and like up through New York. But they're up here in Traverse City area, which is where I'm originally from, the Pinky. So then you kind of cut across and take the bridge in through Canada, and then it's faster, like almost 2 hours faster to come out by Buffalo and down.
Interesting. Learn something new every day.
Yeah, it's quite a long drive, actually. I think it was like 13, 14 hours for them. And the crazy thing is like distance relative when you look at a map, like the map is skewed. So I think it's almost like the same amount of time to maybe go down towards like Atlanta where you guys are as it would be to get from there to Massachusetts. So
yeah, that for Stefan, I think was about a 17-hour drive, but he breaks it up into a couple days and just kind of makes a trip of it. So yeah, break it into 2 days, it gets more manageable. Yeah, for sure.
Well, travel plans aside, we want to hear about you and what you do and about GIB. So I guess a great place to start would be give us the origin story. Like, how did you get into tree care? How did you get into GIB? Like, what's the deal there?
It's a great question, Austin. Thank you so much for asking. Okay, so we're a family-owned and operated company, as I'm sure you're aware. There's a lot of us in it. There's a lot of us that work in it. Well, I'll just start with like the humble beginnings, I suppose, if that's okay. So back in 93, if you ask my dad, it's probably earlier than that, but documented, it was 93 that he started. And we all know the pipeline from lawns to trees. So, you know, typical pipeline type thing. So basically in 93, he started that. He had a pickup truck, a broom, maybe a hoe or something. He just was doing what he could. He was also a licensed insurance agent, and that'll come into play in a second. So give me a second on that one. I remember through the 90s, him just doing anything that people would ask of him, as, you know, like he painted, he laid tile, he did lawns. I went out and planted flowers with him. Like, he got all of us kids very involved at really young ages. It kind of morphed from like lawn care into land management. Early 2000s, he started doing like more of like lawn maintenance type stuff. And like I said, the pine straw, the flowers, those sort of things. And then my brothers were like, hey, Dad, like that would be a really cool idea to get into trees. Like we see really good future in that. And he was like, cool, let's investigate. Let's do that. They got into trees around 2019. And then in 2020, there was a pretty significant storm that hit like in our backyard. They were out there and doing work, and his insurance background kind of came into play around then. He was seeing, trees on houses, and houses are insured. So one thing, like he kind of put things together like, hey, this is something we could build to carriers. And it wasn't something that we started doing right away back in 2020. But then a little bit later, we had hired a company to do it for us. Didn't work out really well. And then decided to start doing it ourselves because over time we had just learned a whole bunch of stuff. And in 2023, officially, we started global insurance billing so that we could have members and bill for them specifically. My dad was an insurance agent for about 18 years. So he saw the effects of this whole thing. Like he understands, he knows, he owned an insurance business at one point and he was able to sell it to a local agent, those sort of things. Like he's just inundated in it. So he understands. Now he doesn't do any of the billing here. Obviously we have a whole very qualified team that does that. They're amazing at what they do, but it's just very fresh on us all the time, as far as what to do. That's kind of where we came from in a nutshell.
You tick like two of the best boxes, I think, for businesses. Is one, like family owned, family born, right? Yeah. Like second generation.
Yeah.
And then like born out of a problem.
Yes.
I guess the third box too is like you guys started in the tree care side, started in landscaping,
yes.
right?
Yes.
Made the progression into the tree care business. And then you've even niched down further into like, we solve this specific problem for the tree care industry. I think that's really powerful.
Exactly. Yeah. Because guys are they're just willing and eager to do this emergency work. And that's so awesome. And we're just like, hey, we want to make sure you get paid adequately for what you're doing. This is a very high stress situation you're going into. It's dangerous. It's all these things. And we just want to make sure that you guys are getting what you are working for here. And if you're not in this every single day, day in and day out, the industry changes so much that it's hard to keep up with the industry trends as far as like the billing. Because something that might work today, we try to do it again next week, and it's like the adjuster's like, hey, never talk to me again. But then you have to switch it up, and then you just have to find what's working at that time. So
I feel like that to me has always been kind of crazy. I know it's changing directions a little bit here, but like tree care professionals, you nailed on it. Like they're emergency responders. Like you take a tree off a house, or like the tree's partially down, it can shift, and it's always dangerous work, but the urgency of it like creates so much less of a controlled environment. It really is and can be dangerous. And additionally, like the ambulance comes out to your house, like you're not like, oh, let me get 3 quotes and like check what this can, right? So like, why is tree care so different from that perspective?
Exactly. Yeah. Things that you don't think about.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done kind of on the regulatory side and generally culturally, like educating people, not just the general public, but tree care professionals themselves. Like hold yourself to a higher standard. You are an emergency responder, not just a guy with a truck, like taking a tree off a house and getting paid for it.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
What is your role at GIB? So what does kind of your day-to-day look like? What do you help people with?
Yeah, I have sort of a dual role right now, which is, it's good. They go hand in hand. So I do operations management. I'm the operations manager. So in that, I'm monitoring claims that are coming in. I'm monitoring where are, like older claims that might need to go into a legal status. I'm monitoring the updates with that. I'm checking in with our billing specialists, making sure everything's running good for them, seeing if they have questions about, things they might be stuck on or, those sort of things, just day-to-day monitoring basically and making sure everything's running smoothly. What can we do to make sure that things run better tomorrow? Are there things that we need to try differently? Do we need to go back to old tactics? Do we need to create new tactics? Those sort of things. That's always like constant in my daily procedures. And then also I onboard new contractors. So when we have people that want to sign up and become members, I go through a training process with them and make sure that they understand how to properly use us, how to properly do all of their documentation, which I would say is the absolute most important thing. So like I said, kind of a dual role. I'm more in the operations management, but I also do a lot of the onboarding for new members and new contractors that come in, just making sure that they've got everything that they need, answering questions. I get a lot of like after hours calls, which is really great. I'm always happy to answer people's questions. That's pretty much my day to day, just making sure things run smoothly and we can keep going and serving our members the best that we can.
You're the glue. You're holding it all together.
I try. I don't feel like it sometimes. I really don't.
Now, that actually is an interesting point. Like, how did you find yourself in that particular role at GIB? Like, was tree care always in the cards for you? Is this always what you wanted to do? Or like,
no, it's not
how did
actually.
You land?
It's really interesting. So I used to work in our tree care company as our salesperson. So I would go out in the estimates and do those sort of things. And it was great. I really did enjoy it. But over time, a need for contractor outreach or like a salesperson position opened up with GIB. One thing led to another. And then I was transitioned from the tree company to GIB back in, I suppose, around October is whenever I was put into the operations management position. So, no, it's not something that as a child I aspired to be doing, but I do appreciate what I do now, and I see the need for it. I see the impact, and I would definitely say that I come to work every day excited to see what we can do for our members and just make sure that everything's going how it should.
That's awesome. It seems, and like with any business, it seems like that first year was kind of, or like, when was like, did you guys always decide that, hey, we're going to make GIB now and like it's a thing? Or was it kind of like it organically happened where
it kind
you
of
were doing
organically
it, then
happened.
somebody needed help? Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of organically happened. Because we saw the need, and like I said, my dad's very, very entrepreneurial, and when he sees a gap in something, especially like service industries, he's going to make sure that there's a way that we can fill it. If there's a way we can serve an industry better, if there's a way we can do more, do better, there's a place for us there. And he's always going to find a way to open a new company to make sure that that happens.
Who were your first clients? So outside of doing it for your own tree care company, how did you get that first and second and third contractor that came in the door?
I don't remember who the first ones were. I remember because I wasn't so much in GIB like in the very beginning stage. I was still in the tree company, but I think it was people that Stefan knew that he was talking really closely with, and that we had just known for a while through the industry. But if I had to name a name, I don't remember, unfortunately. I wish I could.
Mm-hmm. When then, maybe like differently, when was the aha moment for you guys? Like, hey, we think there's a big need for this. And then you actually kind of validated that with the tree
Maybe
guys.
like 4 days before we opened the company. Like, it happened fast.
Oh.
So, and when things transpire around here, they happen fast. Like, if there's an idea today, it's probably going to be in fruition tomorrow. It happens fast. So it was not very long. It was like, okay, this is a need. We're making it happen tomorrow.
So it seems like the need was like pretty deep then. Was it, I mean, what was the big thing for tree guys that they were missing or understanding when they came through the door? They're like, wow, like the discovery of fire, you know, GIB is really helping me grow my business. Like what was so misunderstood about the insurance process?
I think it's a time management thing. Like anything, I love yard work. I love it. I will do it. I don't have time to do it. I don't have the equipment to do it. I'm not going to go out and buy a lawnmower just so I can mow my lawn 4 or 5 months out of the year. I'm going to hire a company to do it. So it's kind of that same time management mindset of like, hey, yeah, I can do this, but am I inundated in the industry enough? Am I willing to sacrifice time for my other customers to make sure that I can call the adjuster every single day? Those sort of things. Like, we want to make sure that those things are taken care of, and they're taken care of well and properly and efficiently. And that's what our team does. So it's like, hey, we want you to be compensated. Like I said, we want you to be compensated for what you do, and this is what we do.
You said something there that's really important. I think it's like near and dear to me in my heart, as a marketer, but just like a general business person, is like, you as the business owner can do most things, like wear like many hats, but there are certain things that you have to get off your plate because they're eating your time all the time. And there's certain things that you need to get off your plate because you're just not the expert, and you'll never have enough repetitions to be awesome at it. Right. So like for you guys, it's, you know, you see, how many insurance jobs are you handling at any given time for contractors in the industry?
A good bit. It changes a lot because our team right now is closing them out really, really nicely. So it's like the more we get, it's, you know, it kind of goes up and down. But I think right now we've got about 50 open, maybe.
50 open. I think like driving to the point is like most tree care guys are going to see what, 10 a year that they do on their own, maybe.
You know, it depends. It really, really depends. And it's such a fickle thing sometimes. Like 2025 was such an interesting year for storm work. It was just very quiet, you know. There was a trickle, obviously, but it wasn't like a huge storm year like 2024 was. So it's just very, very dependent on your area, your exposure in your area, those sort of things. So, and then if you're like traveling to go do storm work, if that's the type of setup that you have or that you want, it just varies area to area.
For sure. Point being, right, is like, you're not going to be a master of that. As a tree care owner who has to wear 7 different hats, you're not going to have mastery over the regulatory requirements of every market that you go and work in. If you're storm chasing, right, you have to think about operations. You have to think about what equipment do I need. You have to manage the field, limit your liability. Like, you're not going to know most likely the particular insurance code. Like if you traveled to Nashville earlier this year, for example, right, you're not going to know what you're doing in that market, right? Like,
and there's a lot of legal aspects to think about when you travel also. And that's another really good thing about how we operate, is that we have our contract set up to where if you're working in a specific state, you select the state that you're working in, and it generates that state specific legal contract. Because like where I'm at in Georgia, if you go a little further south to Florida, totally different.
Yeah, that's huge, because it's just like, and you as an owner would have to choose, like, do I want to work with an expert, somebody who does that all the time, or am I going to now stop everything else I'm doing or add 20 more hours to my workload above and beyond the call of what I'm already doing, 80, 90 hours a week, right? To figure all of that out now, right? It's not, you're not operating in your zone of genius then as a business owner. So I think that's where like the value of GIB comes in for a lot of tree care contractors, is like, it's not that you, it's not that you couldn't,
and it's
and you guys do so much to educate people. It's not that you couldn't learn some of these things, right? It's not that you guys feel, I get the sense, it's not that you guys feel that the contractor can't do it on their own or without you. It's like, your zone of genius is not this. You would do so much better if you just leave this part of it to us. You'd limit your liability. You'd increase your profitability on jobs, which you could totally talk to in a second here. Like, your collections rate, and quite frankly, like, you hate it, right? Like, it's not something that lights you up. You got in the industry
all day.
You got in the industry to cut trees and operate awesome equipment and like enrich people's lives, not to like swap emails with State Farm. So like, I think that's a huge part of it is like do what you love. And then when you don't have enough repetitions to truly master something, if you have the opportunity to partner with somebody who has, like, don't be penny wise, pound foolish when you approach those problems in
Yeah.
your business.
Yeah. Because I'm sure my dad could get in there and do some really good billing also, but he's also running a holdings company. There's like 4 other companies he needs to be in, so he can't sit on the phone with an adjuster. We hired people for that, so it's the same concept.
Right. And then trying to, okay, the hiring thing is hard too, because if you don't have enough, like, okay, I can hire an office manager and cross train them on insurance work for them to run that process
Right.
5, 15, 20 times a year. They're not going to get enough reps in. Every time is going to be a problem or a new fire that they've never encountered before or you haven't encountered before. I think
Yeah.
that's
And it
really
is.
important to
It's
acknowledge.
always a new fire you've never encountered before.
So talk a little bit about that, I guess. What is the big value add? Like you guys, I know ability to get paid on the claims that you make, like your at bat percentage is important here. Collections rate, like what did the stats look like for GIB?
They're really good right now. We have a really good collections rate right now with everything that we've had come in. Again, collections rate always changing because we had some claims come in. We got closed out in 2 weeks, which is a amazing outlier. But typically, I like to tell people it's, from the day that we send the invoice to collection, I would give it about 30, 45, 50 days. So that 2-week outlier kind of skews our numbers a little bit, makes them look really, really good, but it's not always a reality, but it is really awesome. So we love that for our contractors when that happens. Obviously, also, it's dependent on how much you have coming in, how old they get, those sort of things. You don't want them to age. It's something that I'm working on right now is making sure things don't age past a certain time because then they just start getting stagnant. I have seen recently where we had some pretty old ones that were aged and it was just adjusters not wanting to move. Homeowners might be just kind of blocking us, not wanting to do anything. But because our billing specialist was in it day in and day out, calling and calling and emailing and calling, they finally were like, okay, fine, here, we're just sending you the payment. Just leave us alone. So it gets to that point too where it's like, okay, just leave me alone.
You got to be, my understanding is you got to be really tenacious with it, right?
Yeah, and they're really good.
Do you typically, you mentioned both the homeowner or the adjuster can kind of be a problem in the process. Like which one usually is it? Do you guys have more difficulty dealing with the adjusters or the homeowners
So
most of the time?
I'm going to sidetrack that a little bit with this and it'll come back, I promise. From the very beginning, we like to talk to our contractors, our new members, and go through this whole training session of how to look for a good claim and what's a bad claim. And it's okay to walk away from some. So to have a difficult homeowner is very rare because our contractors know how to talk to them on the front end. Now, it's not always like you could have those homeowners that they just don't want to listen or whatever. They say yes, 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 here, 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 and then they ghost. Like you do have those, but most of the time you have your contractor is very well educated on how to go into the conversation, what to talk about, how to read the room on, hey, is this person going to be a problem? Those kind of things. And I don't mean to put that on the homeowner. They're in a tragedy with the tree on their house, but sometimes they just don't want to talk to us or they're just like, I don't care. Don't talk to me kind of thing, So I would say more times than not, it's the adjusters that are fickle. Yeah. It's really important to learn how to talk to the homeowners on the front end. Like you're the salesperson, you're going there and now you're pulling up this contract and they're like, I had a tree on my house, bud, and now I got to read all this and sign it. And it's really, really important that the tree contractors understand the gravity of that. And our members really do. They're really good with figuring when to walk away kind of thing, And that's hard to do. Nobody likes to lose a sale.
Do you have like a particular story that comes to mind? Like maybe it was like a really funny one, or maybe even like a story you're super proud of, or...
Yeah, I have a funny story. So this was actually one that I sold while I was working in the tree company. So I live right outside of Atlanta, and we got a call from another tree contractor, and he's like, hey, I have this call. Can you come out here and look at this tree on the house? And I was like, yeah, sure. Where is it? He sent me the address, all that kind of stuff. So I go out there, and it was this little tight community, super cute little houses, but they were all really close together. And I'm looking at the house that he gave me the address, and I was like, is this the right one? I don't see a tree on a house. I don't even see trees around here. So I knock on the door, and the lady's like, yeah, it's in the back. And I was like, can I walk back there? So I go back there, and I notice a creek behind the back of her house. And then I see the tree on the house. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, like very plain as day tree on the house. And it wasn't a huge tree, but it wasn't tiny. You know, it was a moderate sized tree. And it crashed through their deck and hit their roof and all kinds of stuff, you know. And so I'm down there assessing, taking photos, talking to her. And I was like, it's a sunny day. Like, there was no wind. This tree looks fine. Like, I don't understand. So I'm down there and I'm looking, and then all of a sudden I see these little teeth marks on the base of the tree, and a beaver had come through and like chewed up the tree, so much so that it fell. Almost like a chainsaw had come and cut it, but it was a beaver, and it just fell right on the roof. That was kind of funny, and it got paid out at 100%. So the carrier was like,
"That's so." Beavers are in the standard coverage policy for most.
I'm not an adjuster. I'm not gonna speak to that.
That's funny.
It depends.
It depends. Like, I think that's a good example too. Like, not only is it really funny and unfortunate for the homeowner, I'm glad they got paid out, but it's like, you don't know what you're going to run into. That might be the only time ever that you had the situation, beaver chewed through the tree through the house. Like,
and in that area, and I'm sure like in the state of Georgia, but in that area, beavers are like protected, so they couldn't exterminate or anything. And he's like, there's so many beavers down here, and the whole creek bank was full of those trees, like that type of tree. So I was like, well, hopefully it doesn't happen again.
Big beaver risk there, I guess. That's kind of They're gonna have like a flood risk next because they're gonna dam up the creek and their whole yard's flooded out.
Oh my gosh!
I don't know if you need like a rider on your insurance policy for beavers in Georgia potentially. So
a beaver rider. That's funny.
So obviously, you talked about refining the process a lot. I imagine that there's a lot of things that you guys try that don't work. So what are kind of like some of the early lessons learned or takeaways that you guys have found in building GIB up?
Early things. Okay, so one that we found is super, super important is to have the estimate in the contract. And that might sound like a, well, duh kind of thing, but hear me out. There's a lot of states that do require it legally, that you have the estimate in the contract, so that way your customer can see, what is estimated to be billed to the carrier. It's all an estimate. It's not a final total kind of situation. Through the first couple of months, we noticed that, or like our data showed that the states that required it showed a higher rate of collections as opposed to places that it didn't require it and it wasn't there. That's something that we learned early on.
And then it kind of has become standard practice then across all markets that you guys put that in
100%. 100%. It's super, super important. Yeah. Because, I mean, think about if you had something at your house and you're like, this guy comes over and he's like, yeah, we're going to bill it to your insurance. And you're like, how much? Oh, it doesn't matter. We'll figure it out. I'd be like, no, you're going to tell me how, like, at least an estimate. Like, what are you talking about?
That's actually wild to me. Like, there are situations where people just come and they just start, the homeowner's like, yeah, do it. And they just start taking the tree off and figure the rest out later.
Yeah, I would not be comfortable with that. I'm not a homeowner, but
I wouldn't either.
I could imagine.
Blank check. Just do whatever to my house. I feel like that's a recipe for disaster. So What's something that's worked way better than you expected it to? Like something that you learned?
Formalized training with our contractors. And I kind of touched on this a little bit, but when I got brought into GIB to do like contractor relations and sales and those sort of things, we had just kind of started getting into doing our sales support meetings. And I was able to really hone in on those and kind of refine them and make them or help make them, really, really good to make sure that our contractors understand what we expect, because there's a lot of things that go on. We have to build a storybook for the carrier based on what the contractor did. So there's a lot of documentation that we need. And, I wasn't really expecting our contractors to be super receptive to that training, and they were really, really excited to do it. So that was really nice, because there's a lot of documentation. You get to an emergency job, your brain's just going, like right off the bat, boots hit the ground, and you're just boom, boom, boom. And you don't always think to stop and take those photos. But without the photos, without all that documentation, worst comes to worst, and our legal team has to represent you. They have to be able to explain what you did and why you did it. So if there's no photos, it didn't happen, basically, is what I try to convey.
So they're pretty receptive to that then, because you're effectively giving them a checklist
Yes.
or like set of steps that they didn't previously have before to
Yes.
follow.
Yes.
Do you guys in your process, do you have like any sort of specific software or tools that you recommend to contractors that they use in that process? Or
I mean, we have an app that people, like our members, can download and log into their portal and everything to access all of our documents. It only works if you're a member. So if you want to be a member and download our app, just contact me, kind of thing. But it's really nice for if you're on the job, you're out in the field and you come across a tree on a house kind of situation. You're not having to go to your web browser. There's just an app right there on your phone that you could just, everything's all in one place.
That's a very nice value. So it helps them stay organized.
Yes.
I know. And I assume you guys have made it fairly easy to use.
Yeah.
That was always a big thing coming up in the trades was, I think, you can build like this really nice technical platform with all these like bells and whistles. But what's really important is it simple and easy to use for people out in the field? Yeah. Like, does it kind of hit on exactly what you need it to do and maybe not too much more to make it convoluted or complex?
Yeah, we try to make it as simple as possible, but we always take feedback too. We know it's not perfect, and we want it to be the best that you can get. So if there's ever feedback, we're open to taking some feedback and just refining things and making sure they work best for the people who are using them.
I know we've hit a lot on like mechanistically what you guys do and like the way that you do it, but why is it so important that tree care companies even know how to do the insurance work in the first place? What separates the tree care companies that are like thriving on the insurance work from those that don't?
I would say it's probably consistency. If you do your own billing for a job and then the next day you go and you bill another job like something completely different and it's not consistent, it starts feeling all over the place. It starts getting a little diluted and there's not like true legitimacy. And I'm not saying that the people who do that don't have legitimacy. It's just if you're billing like $3,000 for this and then $15,000 over here, the carriers might start looking at you like, what's going on here? Like, how are you? There's no consistency here. Why would I pay you 15 if that one was 3? Why I'm just paying you 3. So ours are like standardized rates. We make sure that it's consistent across the board. We have comparables, all those sort of things.
That makes sense. And then, like, as the business case, could you just get away with never doing insurance work as a tree care company? Do you feel like companies that don't do insurance work overall are missing out?
I think there's a lot of companies that don't do emergency work, and that's their choice, and that they're just like, hey, we're either don't want to deal with it, we're not set up for it, it's just not in our business model, and like a lot of companies are doing just fine not doing emergency work, but then there are the companies that are like, we'll do anything kind of situation. We're equipped, we're ready, we're willing. And I don't know if one thing's better than the other. It's just different business models and how you want the trajectory of your company to go.
Do you feel there's been a big bottleneck for, tree care guys that you talk to in scaling,
Like scaling their
the emergency
company?
side, or have you guys had any trouble scaling GIB for that reason? I know you mentioned storms earlier a bit.
Yeah, I would definitely say the unpredictability of storms is because, like, it's kind of hard financially to predict where you need to focus your marketing. Where is the storm going to hit? Where is a derecho just going to appear? Like, you can keep your eye on the weather. You can hire a meteorologist or whatever you want to do. But storms are unpredictable. And I mean, we saw that with Helene. We thought they all said it was going to go one way and it went completely different. So, and I know out there in Michigan, you guys see that all the time. Like I said, 2025 was just an odd season. So I would just say the unpredictability of storms it can cause a bottleneck, but you adapt and just kind of figure things around it and keep moving,
One of the things that I really like, calling back to earlier about GIB, is that you take one more unpredictable element out of the equation, at least for contractors there. Because the big thing is, like, if you're planning to get into emergency work, you need all of this equipment, right? Like, very expensive equipment. You have to be set up to do it. You need to train your team and make sure they're prepared and ready to do it. And the administrative work that comes on the back end is just a whole nother set of headaches. So it's like, not only do I have to buy the equipment and staff the team in hopes the storm comes through and I have the opportunity to, like, make that money back.
Yeah.
If I want to do it myself without GIB, like, I also need to staff up.
Yes.
And train up myself or my staff or my office manager. And then just the operational load of, like, you can scale faster into that storm. Yeah. So, like, let's say, administratively with your current book of business, you could only do 10 jobs, but theoretically you could get your team out there on Saturday and Sunday and bang out 40 jobs over the course of that week. Like, you might go and perform the work, but then you overexceed your administrative capacity, your business is going to be buried. Like, you are going to grind yourself to a halt. And so the fact that you guys are available, like, you have one less constraint now, right? And your business can, once that unpredictable storm comes through, you can monetize it to the best degree that you can. And then you can kind of, like, go about your normal business once things kind of get back to normal for you.
Yeah, I totally agree. There was some storms that came through earlier this year, down kind of in the south, a little north of us. And there was a couple companies that we just had contracts flooding in every day from them. And I'm like, are you guys okay? Like, it was really awesome to see them getting all this work done. But I can only imagine being in his shoes and then trying to turn around and do all the collections for it, because our office was, I mean, they were on the grind, like they were killing it. And they do this every day. So I can only imagine being in his shoes trying to turn around. But he did good. He did great. So that was awesome to see.
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you also try to run your business for the next, like, what you say, like, some of these collections go out 6-8 months.
Yeah.
So you have that, like, black cloud kind of looming over your head while you're trying to handle all the ins and outs of the day to day, which are already stressful enough for a tree care company.
Exactly.
I got to get my crooked marketing partners in line. Like, how am I supposed to deal with my insurance billing?
Exactly. So. Oh my gosh.
Talk about kind of like the values for you guys. Like, what's a non-negotiable in how you run the company? What's some, like, I guess in your dad too, like, what are the values or kind of wisdom that he's passed on to you and your brothers that you kind of carried with you there?
Values, I would say, just strive forward to make sure that you're doing everything that you can to serve your customer better. That's what we were raised on. So if you have somebody that you are doing something for, you are all in. You're doing that in and out, day in and day out. You're making sure that their needs are being met. You're making sure that you're asking questions to make sure that you can do it better. So that's something that we were raised on, instilled at a very young age.
With that, then, do you guys find contractors a lot that you'll decline to work with, or you have situations where you have to terminate relationships?
There's been a few. Unfortunately, there's been a few, but it's very few and far between. I think sometimes they just kind of stay away for whatever reason, and there's kind of an interview process when we start the membership. You know, we do a demo, we do onboarding, and we do the training. And sometimes people weed themselves out, interestingly enough. But my big thing when I go through all of that stuff is the documentation. Like, if you can't provide proper documentation about yourself to me on the front end, I know that I'm going to have to stay on top of you doing it for the jobs. So.
Is it does that tie in a little bit to why did GIB choose to get involved with like the ATCP? And like, it sounds like some of the things you're mentioning kind of overlay with the ethical standards that we try to enforce through the organization.
Yeah. So
go
our
ahead.
values align very well. So we see the value in the ATCP and what it's striving to bring to the industry. And we're so excited to see all of the progress and where things go, because we find the value in like-minded people that want the best for the industry, that want to see the morals and the integrity and the honesty and the transparency and the responsibility and the communication. And we feel like those sort of values that we also have very much align with the ATCP.
Absolutely. And then I know Stefan is actually founding board member, right, on the ATCP as well. So it was cool because you guys do a lot for the organization to help us, you were neighbors at Expos most of the time. And it's really cool that I feel the organization kind of shares the values of making the process easier for the contractors, educating them, providing them with the right tools and expertise to like help their businesses thrive and succeed.
Yeah.
I think you guys do a really great job of that as well. So how has being in tree care and like going through this journey at GIB changed you, like as a person?
I think it's given me a good appreciation for what people do behind the scenes, like things that you don't always think about, things that you don't always see. I come from a very, very different background. Like, I haven't worked in this my whole life. I've been in and out of my dad's companies my whole life, but stably, I've been here for about 4 or 5 years. So just things behind the scenes, effort that people put in that you don't always see. It's just given me a good appreciation for the overtime that people put in.
What keeps bringing you back as you?
Well, I was in an industry that I loved before this, and I saw my brothers and my sisters here, and I saw the future of this thing that my family is putting together, my family's working very hard for, and I just wanted to be a part of it no matter where I was. They could have had me in the trees, cutting trees down, and I just knew that I wanted to be a part of this.
That's awesome. You enjoy working with family then?
Yeah, I do. It's interesting because you're always with them and there's a lot of us, but we all have like differing personalities that don't clash all the time. But yeah, it's really good. It's really good. We pull together very well.
It's good to hear that you all get along for the most part too. Like, family and business can be really difficult.
And it's not like oh, let me slap on a smile and tell them they're doing everything perfect. It's like, I'm going to work with people that I know have my back, and they're going to call me out if I'm not doing something correctly. So there's this, there's like the disagreements, those sort of things. Those things happen, but it's always productive and it's never tearing you down.
That's good. It's just like the ultimate goal should be to work with people that you like, trust, and respect.
Right.
So it's nice when that overlaps with, your family.
Yeah.
Also checks that box.
Yes.
So if the tree care industry and GIB disappeared tomorrow, what would you do instead?
What would I do instead?
What would you do instead?
Figure out what happened. And is there still a need? Can we recreate it? Different industry completely?
It's a critical thinking question. You can go with it wherever you want. I love that your instinct was, let's rebuild it. Let's just start over. Why is it not here anymore?
Why is it not here
Tells
anymore?
me you're in the right. Yeah, it tells me you're in the right spot. So I love that. So with that, it's clearly like very important to you. What does success look like for the company?
Just forward movement, making sure that things aren't always status quo, making sure that things are growing, making sure that if you see another need somewhere, you can find out a way to meet it to the best of your ability or better. And there's a lot of things that I know that we want to get into, just making sure that those things are moving.
All right. Rapid fire round for you.
Okay.
What is the toughest state to bill in from an insurance standpoint?
Well, they're all easy to bill in, but collections wise, maybe Florida.
Why?
Well, I don't know. They're just interesting down there. We love our Floridians. They can just be a little interesting and not willing to talk and work and those sort of things. Not the contractors.
I thought you were gonna go with all of the insurance companies are bankrupt. But
I don't know about that actually. They might be now.
Biggest pet peeve when a contractor submits a job?
When they don't have enough photos.
No photos?
Yeah.
You guys better get Sarah her
Yeah,
photos
when they don't have enough photos.
Please
Please give me your photos. Please, please, please. Take all the photos. Take too many photos.
Too many. That's a big thing. Like, just documented evidence.
Yeah.
Important, guys. Coffee or energy drinks?
Coffee.
Coffee. How many cups a day?
Upwards of 3 or 4.
3 or 4?
Yeah, sometimes.
3 is like the middle. Like, are we 3 o'clock? Like 3 cups, 2 p.m.? Do you have like a
2
target
p.m.'s
you
around
set for
the
the
time
day?
that I'm like, okay, I need another cup. If it's my mom's coffee, you just need one. You just need one.
Just
don't drink more than that.
Bruise it strong.
It's like crude oil.
It's like sludgy when it comes out of the. If you could change one thing about how the insurance companies handle tree claims, just one thing, what would it be?
Don't be so quick to jump to conclusions and ask more questions with the intention of listening.
I love it. Final question for you. What is your best piece of advice, life, business oriented, otherwise, that you'd like to share with tree care companies, members of the ATCP?
Make sure you're doing things honestly, ethically, and morally. If nobody else was watching you, would you still do it? Or if everybody else was watching you, would you still do it?
Would you still do it? It was framed to me as like, I was just taught, like, if your grandmother was watching, would you be proud of?
Yeah. Would you be proud of that? If your kid was in the same room with you and they knew exactly what you were doing, would you still do it?
That's a good one. Sarah, thank you so much
for
hopping in the Canopy with us today. It was an absolute pleasure to have you and talk with you, and thank you for the tremendous value you brought to
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, love to have you on again soon.
Awesome. I look forward to it.